Hello, welcome back to another discussion as we'll be discussing the Four Horsemen from the book of Revelation. This was or some as you know, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. All right. There are many different theories about the horsemen. Some people believe that the horsemen are actual human beings. Some believe that the horsemen actually represent time periods through which Satan rules the earth. All right. Some believe that they just represent plagues, but the word already gives us many clues as to who they are. All right. So as you can see, we must come to the understanding that our enemies are doing everything possible to imitate the Lord and take his place. Therefore, the kingdom of the enemy imitates the kingdom of the Lord. Now, you may be wondering, how does this relate to the four horsemen? All right. Because we are going to discuss in theory the description of this system in a little bit more detail, all right, of how the enemy imitates the kingdom of the Lord. Now, in our earlier discussion, I explained how the seven spirits described in the book of Enoch, the seven angels described in the book of Enoch went against the seven spirits of the Lord, or most likely we're challenging the seven spirits of the Lord for the title of Elohim. All right. Now, these angels formed their own system of rulership and laws outside of the Lord. Now, of course, this is in theory, but what many people don't understand is that there are philosophies that some people believe in called as above, so below. Now, this philosophy of as above, so below can actually be applied to both the kingdom of Yah and the kingdom of the dragon. But most people only compare it to the system of the Antichrist or the system of the dragon, unaware that they are disregarding the system of Yah. And just like Yah sits on his throne in the heavens, all right, he took the form as the angel of Yah, or the angel of the Lord, all right, who sits on the throne on earth. All right. So even when he appeared in the first chapter of Ezekiel, verses 10 and 11, we can see that the description of the four angels that are before the throne of the angel of the Lord resemble the angels that are before his throne in the heavens. All right. As we can read in Revelations chapter 4, 6-7, and you see a description of these angels. All right. All right. Now, in the earlier verses, Revelations chapter 4, which is verses 2 and 4, we see that the glory of Yah and the description of his glory on the throne is the same description given to the angel of the Lord in Ezekiel 1, verse 27. Also, we can see in Exodus chapter 24 that Moses gathers up elders, totaling about 72 extra elders besides him and Aaron, and they sit afar off. All right. And this resembles the elders that are in Revelations chapter 4, verse 4. And they are 24 elders who sit before the throne. All right. We can see, I mean, there's a lot more examples of how his kingdom was resembled on earth. All right. But hopefully now you can see why Yeshua refers to the kingdom of Israel as the kingdom of heaven. All right. In fact, during the time Yeshua walked the earth, it was common knowledge that the kingdom of Israel was considered the kingdom of heaven. Now, you know, most people believe that the kingdom of heaven is, or the kingdom of heaven as described in the New Testament, is the Father's kingdom in the skies, but it is actually the Father's kingdom on earth, as we can observe from studying the Old Testament and also from the words of Yeshua himself. So this can be observed in Luke chapter 17, verses 20-21, explaining that we are the kingdom of the Elohim. And since Yeshua came for the restoration of the Israelite kingdom to fulfill prophecy given throughout most of the minor prophetic books and a couple of the major prophetic books of the Old Testament. All right. And he even confirms this with his own words. If we look into Matthew 15:24, we can see that Yeshua's main purpose is for the scattered tribes of Israel. All right, which is more confirmation that the kingdom of Israel was modeled after the kingdom that is in the heavens. And just another fun fact for you, in Luke 17, verse 22, he says to his disciples, there will come a time when you hope to see one of the days of the Son of Man. All right. Or you will desire to see one of these days. Now, we know that the day we desire to see is his coming as the Ancient of Days, when he gathers his kingdom. And we do not desire to see the terrible day. So once again, this is more evidence that Yeshua says that his second coming will be in secret. Not to get off the subject, just wanted to point that out. Now, as far as Yeshua's kingdom being on earth, I know some of you might be saying, well, hey, I mean, in John chapter 14, verse 2, all right, it reads that Yeshua went to prepare a place for us in the heavens. Now, yes, this is true. All right. And that place is where the souls of those who believe in Yah go when they pass over. All right. But this location is temporary. All right. And we can read several books that when the Son of, and we can read this in several books, that when the Son of Man comes with the clouds, we know that the clouds that he comes with on the terrible day are the souls of those who have passed believing in him. All right. So even though they occupy this place, they will leave with him when he comes to earth on the terrible day. All right. And this place that was built by Yeshua to house these souls will also soon come to earth if we go to Revelations 21, verse 2. All right. So as you can see, Yah's kingdom on earth is the kingdom of heaven described in the New Testament. All right. Now, the Satans, all right, or the system, the beast system, right? The Satan, the dragon. He also has a kingdom on earth that resembles the kingdom that he has in the skies. Now, I know y'all like, what kingdom in the skies? All right. But trust me, this is just an attempt to imitate the Lord. All right. I mean, even down to having their own favorite fragrance. All right. Or incense. All right. It's just like Yah likes the smell of frankincense. Zeus or Baal God likes the smell of sage. All right. The Satans ask for blood sacrifices that resemble the mark of worship signified on the hand and the forehead, just like Yah asked for blood sacrifices. And Moses said they are to represent the worship, and this will be a sign on your hand and your forehead. All right. And as we read in Revelations 12, verse 3, the dragon, or the abomination who lives in the skies, has 7 heads and 10 horns, just like the system that he has on earth. So we can see that the system that he has in the heavens is represented by a dragon, and the system that he has on earth is represented by some kind of hybrid creature. All right. So the 7 heads of the hybrid creature, or, the beast. All right. So the 7 heads of the beast represent 7 land masses. All right. Given to the 10 horns that represent 10 earthly rulers. And these 10 earthly rulers take turns sharing in power that is given to the beast system by the dragon. All right. The 7 heads of the dragon, all right, represent Baal God and his other 6 angels. The 10 horns on the heads of the dragon represent the worship and authority given to those angels over the kings who rule the earth. And just like Yah has, a chosen people, a promised land, and a preferred language, all right, the dragon also has a chosen people, a promised land, and a preferred language. So just like Yah sends counterparts of himself to rule over his kingdom on earth, all right, the dragon formed the beast system to represent himself on earth and his physical rule over the earth. Now, some of you may be saying, okay, I understand that, but what does this have to do with the 4 horsemen of Revelation? Well, my point is that the four horsemen are a system of the dragon imitating the system of Yah. So now, if we go to the book of Zechariah, um, chapter 6, verses 1 to 3, we can see that Zechariah saw four chariots of horses. All right, a chariot of red horses, a chariot of black horses, a chariot of white horses, and a chariot of grizzled or bay horses. All right, now, excuse me if I'm wrong, but from my understanding, like I said, I may be wrong, but I think that grizzled and bay horses are the horses that are in between white and black or have these white or black spots or changing their coats, but I'm not sure. All right. But I mean, as you can see, the four horsemen of Revelations resemble the four chariots of the Lord. And in Zechariah, all right, chapter 6, verses 5 through 8, all right, he is told that these chariots are the four spirits of heaven, which go forth from standing before the Lord of all the earth, all right, or Elohim of the earth. So now we see that the four angels that Ezekiel saw have jobs described as chariots. So the four angels with the wheels that were in Ezekiel's visions, once again, we see that they are described as having jobs. All right, their jobs are described as these chariots of horses. All right, so these angels with the four faces, which, you know, they each had a face of a man, the face of a lion, the face of an eagle, and the face of an ox. All right, they are in charge of keeping peace. All right, and from what I can tell, they are like the police or the peace officers of Yah. But in the book of Revelations, we can see that the four beasts who are before the throne in the heavens possibly have the exact same job of peace enforcement, but of the heavens. All right. And just like the ones on earth who would most likely are keeping the peace on or hold the peace, keep the peace on earth. All right. So if we go to Revelation 6, we can see that it is the four beasts that stand before the throne who reveal the four horsemen to John. Now, remember, these beasts resemble the same angels that Ezekiel saw that were before the throne of the angel of the Lord on earth. All right. So you have one that has the head of an ox, one that has the head of a person, one that has the head of an eagle, and one that has the head of a lion. You can see that they are most likely probably a stronger version, seeing as they guard or they stand before the throne that is actually in the heavens. And just like there are rules and laws that the Lord put down here on earth, you must understand that there are rules and laws that he put in the heavens. We know this because the Satans went against his order. This means they went against his rules, against his laws. And this is what we even call sin to begin with. This is why I assume in theory, that these four beasts are like the peacekeepers or the enforcers of Yah's law, all right, on celestial beings. All right. So the four beasts, all right, in charge of keeping these celestial beings from fighting one another and attacking the earth, will, in theory, under the commandment of Yah, remove their restraints. All right. Now, this is when I assume that Michael rushes Baal God like a pit bull off a chain. All right. And smacks his happy butt down to earth, as described in Daniel 12, verse 1, and Revelations 12, 7 through 8. And now I know I'm not the only one who's been thinking this as you read the word, but it really seems like Michael was actually waiting a long time to do that. So he was just like, I can't wait to have at this guy. You know what I'm saying? Okay, but the horses from the book of Revelations, or the four horses of the apocalypse, don't just represent the four beasts and the removal of their restraint, but the riders of the horses represent the four spirits of Satan's kingdom. All right. The four angels before the Lord kept the peace, but these four angels of Baal, God's kingdom, take peace away. All right. So many people have identified two of these angels as being Ares or Mars, the deity of war. And obviously, the other one is the angel of death. All right. We know this because the angel of death obviously is called death. And as you can see, Hades or Hellel follows behind him or follows him. All right. And from history, we can tell that the angel of death and Hellel share a very tight relationship, very close relationship. All right. Throughout history, they have even shared personas. They've shared worship. And this is most likely because Hellel rules Abaddon, and death is the one who brings souls to Abaddon. So in a sense, they split the worship. All right. All right. So they even shared the worship of death in Egypt as Anubis and Osiris. All right. In fact, you could say that Yah used Anubis to plague his own worshippers, which is something that Yah is infamous for doing. All right. He did this when Pharaoh would not release the Israelites. Of course, if you look in Exodus chapter 13, verse 15, we see that all the credit for this is given to Yah. All right. But like I said, Yah uses the deities that people worship to punish them, just like we can see from the judgment that will be on Mystery Babylon. All right. So as I explained before, death was worshipped basically as Ha-Satan at one time. All right. He was worshipped as Anubis, Moloch, Thanatos. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Saturn, Father Time, and then went back to death. And once again, he's one of Satan's seven. All right. And also, as we can see, the rider of the pale horse. All right. Now, the rider of the red horse, all right, is worshipped as the deity, or we can recognize him as being the deity known as Mars or Ares, the deity of war. All right. The red horse is like, it's kind of a dead giveaway. I mean, because obviously the deity of war is associated with the color red. All right. But another hint that this is the deity of war, or the angel that played as the deity of war, is his ability to make people fight and kill one another. So we see that he has the power to start wars. All right. And his star is named after his Roman counterpart, which is Mars. And it also happens to be the red planet. All right. All right. So the next two horsemen we're about to talk about are the ones that bring up the most debate. Let's go ahead and talk about the rider of the black horse. And the rider of the black horse, as we can see has scales in his hand, a balance in his hand. All right. And we can see that he's trying to charge some unjust or pay unjust wages for a whole day's work. All right. So this is obvious. So people say, hey, this must be famine and starvation. And it's like, okay. Yeah, I believe that too. However, we have to see what John is seeing in the vision as these angelic beings, all right, are being portrayed as Greek deities. So we can see that the deities throughout history that resemble this horseman the most are the deities from Egyptian culture, which we know are Mat, but we know, of course, we're going to be doing Greek. So Themis and Demeter. So we see that Themis and Demeter, and Mat as well from the Egyptian culture, just tossing that in there, are all in charge of the divine law and justice. All right. So, of course, we know that this is not the laws of Yah. So obviously, this is the laws of the abomination that they are in charge of keeping. All right. And we can see that Themis is the one that holds the balances in her hand. And her counterpart, which is Demeter, they are the same person. I mean, Themis and Demeter are the same person. But what Demeter and Themis are most famous for is famine and worldwide starvation. So when they get upset, all right, they will usually cause these huge famines that will go worldwide. All right. So most likely, the rider of the black horse would be Demeter. But most people will say that doesn't make sense because obviously we can see that the rider of the black horse is male. All right, and Demeter, Themis, and Mat, they're all goddesses. They're all female deities. So this wouldn't make very much sense. But here's the part we keep forgetting is that there were no female angels created by Yah. All right, Yah only created male angels. That means all of the deities, even the ones who play as women, all right, are all played by male angels. All right, and as we can see that they all are open about their female counterparts, just like Baal Gad has a female counterpart, Hillel has a female counterpart, and they all have female counterparts. Okay, so most likely in the Bible this is described as a male because they're like, well, we're not going to call him a woman if it's a guy, and so therefore we see that this most likely is the angel that played as Themis and Demeter. All right, so this is the angel that was worshipped as Themis and Demeter. But I mean, really, that's just in theory because, like I said, this is really, this causes a hot debate between who the rider of the black horse is. I believe it is the angel that played as Themis and Demeter because we have so much evidence pointing towards that, and the fact that John uses these Greek deities to represent these angelic beings. All right. Now, if we move over, or if we keep going over to the rider of the white horse, now this one confuses a lot of people because many people will associate this with the Son of Man and say, hey, this one is Yah. Okay, this one is Yah coming down to conquer. All right, because this one would be a conqueror. Now, this is hard to tell because we don't really have any deities, Greek deities that represent conquering. Now, some would say that it is Adamas. All right, but you have to understand that Adamas is actually what we would call one of those modern Greek fables. All right, because he didn't really exist in ancient times. He was actually created through like current fables and stories and cartoons, little things like that. As far as I'm concerned, that actually makes you a real deity when you start to do that, and that his characteristics resemble that of Hillel. All right, so you could say that once you start adding a counterpart to a deity, then yeah, it becomes that. But he didn't really exist during the time of John. All right, when John was talking about this, so this is hard this one's kind of hard because some people say no, it's Yah because obviously Yah comes as the Son of Man riding a white horse, and say yeah, but we have to remember that the rider of the Four Horsemen, this one, he has a bow in his hand. All right, and we know that the Son of Man isn't going to come fighting with a bow. He comes fighting with a double-edged sword. All right, in fact, it talks about his sword a lot, like he's literally going to use that sword to kill everybody. But the bow is something that Greek deities used often. I mean, I think it was actually their preferred weapon of choice. But there were so many of these deities, the head deities like Apollo and it's rare, but you actually see even Zeus or Baal God use a bow once in a while, but he mostly just throws thunderbolts. So it's really hard to tell. We know that this does represent one of the head Greek deities. Now the description that he actually fits is actually not of the Greek deity, but of a person who claimed to be the son of Zeus, and this would be Alexander the Great. Now, I mean, he almost fits the description to a T. All right, Alexander the Great was given the crown, and he went forth conquering almost the whole world. He claimed to be the son of Zeus, claimed to be a deity. All right, called himself a god king. He would fit a lot of this description. However, if Alexander the Great is the rider of the white horse, and as we see, the rider of the white horse is actually the horse that comes out first, then this means that these horses also, in theory, represent time periods. So there would be time periods on which these seals are removed by the beasts. All right, so let's recap a little bit. All right, so four angels from Ezekiel's vision, all right, with the four faces, all right, are represented by four chariots of horses, and the horses are four different colors. The four beasts in the heavens that are before the throne, all right, that share the same faces as the angels from Ezekiel's vision, all right, are in charge of four different horses with different colors. All of them represent peace officers or keeping peace. We have ones that keep the peace in the heavens. And then we have the four angels that have the beast faces on them, kept the peace in Yah's kingdom on earth. All right. Now, I know some of y'all saying, hey, I thought you were going to talk about his name, his prophesied name, right? And I understand that's very important. I'm going to ask you, please forgive me. I'm going to ask the Lord to forgive me too, because I know that many will become offended because of his name. All right. Most of you may not even want to listen to me after we discuss the name of the Elohim. All right. But he's the Elohim of truth. So I don't care if I lose the support of everybody, because it doesn't matter as long as I have the support of the Lord. All right. If I lose the support of every single person, it means I must have did something right. Because let me tell you, Matthew 10:22, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. All right. I'll talk to you next time. And remember, let the Lord be your teacher.